this section on adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing polynomials. So we've done each of these separately, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So the last few examples deal with multiple operations as well as finding perimeter, finding area, involving rectangles and triangles. So when you are performing multiple operations, that's when you are alluding to order of operations. So order of operations still apply. So since we have adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, of course you'll multiply or divide first, from left to right, add or subtract second. So yes, it is PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, but we're looking at it in relation to the content that we've been working with. So in the case of part A, you have three different expressions. Subtraction and adding are in the midst of it. So when you are solving this problem out, you still have to go from left to right. So that means the subtraction goes first. So remember your rules for subtraction. When you are subtracting polynomials, you keep the first polynomial. You take the negative, take the minus sign, and you distribute it. That's minus 6, minus 4m, and plus 7m squared. The second part you can just bring down, because we're not going to touch it yet. So we combine our like terms. So 2 goes with the minus 6, that's negative 4. Negative 3m minus 4m, negative 7m. 5m squared and 7m squared is 12m squared. Remember, when you are adding or subtracting, when you add or subtract, the exponents do not get touched. When you add or subtract, the exponents do not get touched. Any questions before we finish off the problem? So we did the adding part first. We did the subtracting part first, since that's what came first from left to right. Now we do the adding part. So when you add, the parentheses doesn't matter. Parentheses don't matter when you add. All we're doing is combining like terms. Negative 4, we go with the 9. So negative 4 plus 9. It's 5. Negative 7m goes with negative 1m. Negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. (12m squared plus 3m squared) 15m squared. So now you've combined all the like terms. Only thing that's left is for you to put it in standard form. So your answer is 15m squared minus 8m plus 5. So your answer still needs to go in standard form. Your answer still has to go in standard form. Any questions, part A? Yes. Times a negative is positive. Mm-hmm. You look at what they're asking you to do, and then you follow the order of operations. So you have a subtraction and you have an adding. You have to subtract the first two, get that answer, and then whatever answer you get, since the second one was a plus, you'll add it to the other polynomial. So the key does, so only do two at a time. If you try to do them all at once, you increase the chance of you either missing something or screwing something up. So, well, the problem with that is, well, the problem is that's not a multiplication problem. If it was a multiplication problem, there wouldn't be a minus sign in between the first and second parentheses. There wouldn't be an adding sign between the second and third parentheses. That's correct. That, and you can't do FOIL unless you have two terms times two terms. FOIL only applies to problems like that, like this. Two terms, two terms. That's the only time you can use FOIL. So this is why for some of you, when I look over your homework, look, I give you the answer, so I don't necessarily look to see if you have the right answer. I'm looking to see, does your work match up what you're supposed to be doing? I could care less what the answer is because I gave it to you. I want to see, are you solving it out the right way? That way, when you do it on a quiz or a test, in which I'm not going to give you the answer, you can demonstrate that you know what you're doing. So, a couple good questions there. Any questions before we do part B? Not saying you're hearing any, so that's good. While it's on my mind, Derek and Brooke, after class, I need to talk to both of you. So don't you run off of here yet. When class ends, you two stay. I gotta talk to both of y'all. Part B. So you have 5n times 4n plus 7. So this question is an example of multiplication, when you just have something and the parentheses directly next to it, minus 3n squared times n minus 4. So these two are also being multiplied together. So the way that this problem is set up, you're going to multiply the first part, multiply the second part, and then whatever the two answers are, you're going to subtract them. Whatever the two answers are, we're going to subtract. So we do not attempt to subtract these until we finished out the multiplication. Remember, it's multiply or divide from left to right, add or subtract from left to right. So multiplication is higher. So we do multiplication first. So 5n times 4n is 20n squared. 5n times 7, 35n. So that's what you get when you multiply the first part. For the second part, you have 2 terms times 2 terms. So again, this is when you can use FOIL, you can use basic distributive property, you can use Punnett squares. Whichever one you choose to do, that's on you. That's up to you. So I'm going to multiply this out using FOIL. I'm going to do it off to the side. So 3n times n is 3n squared. 3n times 4 is 12n. Negative 2 times n, negative 2n. Negative 2 times 4, negative 8. So if you combine my terms, 3n squared plus 10n minus 8. Any questions before we continue? So we've done the multiplication. Now it's a subtraction problem. So since it's subtraction, 20n squared plus 35n, the first parentheses comes down. Subtraction means you distribute the negative. That's minus 3n squared minus 10n plus 8. Then you combine like terms. 20n squared minus 3n squared, 17n squared. 35 minus 10, 25n. And then plus 8 has no one to combine. That's it. I'm good. Any questions, part B? So, if you have multiple operations in a problem, which will happen from time to time, the key thing there is follow the order of operations. Multiply or divide first, add or subtract second. So, it will happen from time to time. Let's see, Jalen just joined. That's good. I need to see him after class too. So, when we let out in 10 minutes. Okay, well, just keep trying, but I still need to talk to you after class too. All right, so first place where we can apply this is finding the perimeter and area of a rectangle. You're going to be dealing with perimeter and area of a rectangle a good chunk of your life, either in a college class or when you're trying to put down carpet, tile, floor, square footage of something in your house. You're going to be dealing with rectangles for the rest of your life. Perimeter. So perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So there's your length, there's your width. If you switch them up, it doesn't make a difference. They're getting plugged into the same formula. So 2 times x plus 4, and 2 times 2x squared minus 3x plus 5. there's your setup. The next part is to distribute. This 2 goes to the first parentheses. This 2 goes to the second parentheses. And you combine your like terms. So 2x goes with negative 6x, negative 4x. 8 goes with 10, that's 18. 4x squared is by itself. So 4x squared minus 4x plus 18. That formula. Same perimeter formula that we've been using all year. To find the area, that's length times width. So your length is x plus 4. Your width is 2x squared minus 3x plus 5. So look at the setup of the problem. You have 2 terms times 3 terms. You cannot use FOIL with this. FOIL doesn't work with this type of problem. The only thing you can do is either distribute or use the Punnett square. Either distribute or use the Punnett square. Your choice. I'm going to distribute. So distributing, take the x, multiply it times everything in the second parentheses. And then take the 4 and multiply it times everything in the second parentheses. So first you set it up, and then you can start multiplying out. So x times 2x squared is 2x to the third. Remember, when you multiply, you add the exponents. When you multiply, you add the exponents. When you divide, you subtract the exponents. X times negative 3x, negative 3x squared. X times 5, 5x. Four times 2x squared, 8x squared. 4 times negative 3, negative 12x. 4 times 5, 20. Any questions before we finish the problem? Let's finish the problem. 2x to the third has no one to combine with. 2x to the third. Negative 3x squared combines with 8x squared. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. 5x combines with minus 12x. 5 minus 12 is -7. And the plus 20 coming down. That's your area. So, any questions, perimeter or area? Multiply. That's when you can add the exponents. Multiply, you add the exponents. Dividing, you subtract the exponents. All right, so the last one is with a triangle. So I'll basically make sure to set these up, and then I'll solve them out before I upload them to Google Classroom. You have a triangle. Perimeter is simply adding up the sides. Equals add up sides. There is no nice formula for perimeter for a triangle. So 10c plus 4 plus 6c plus 4 plus 8c plus 1. There is no nice cheap formula. 10, 6, and 8, 24. 4, 4, and 1 is 9. That's your proof. So, the area of a triangle, there's two ways that you can set it up. That's 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Which one you choose is purely up to you. The main issue that people will run into is which one is the base and which one is the height. So, the base is the horizontal part of the triangle. Yes. That's the volume of a rectangular prism. Base is the horizontal part. And height is the vertical part. So when you multiply it out, that's 1/2 times 6c plus 4 times 8c minus 1. So that's the first way that would be set up, or 6c plus 4 times 8c minus 1 plus 1 divided by 2. Both of these ways I'll solve out before I upload it to Google Classroom. So I'm going to pause the recorder there. All right, so now that we have both ways that the problem can be solved, let's go ahead and solve it now. So starting with the first way here, 1/2 base times height. So you have 1/2 times 6c plus 4 times 8c plus 1. So if I were solving it, I would probably take the two parentheses and multiply those out first. In doing that, 6c times 8c is 48c squared. 6c times 1 is 6c. 4 times 8c is 32c. And 4 times 1 is 4. course, if you combine like terms, 6 plus 32 gives you 38. Everything else comes down. So you have 1/2 times 48c squared plus 38c plus 4. Now, you take 1/2 and you distribute it in. So remember, multiplying times 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. So 1/2 times 48 is 24c squared. 1/2 times 38 is 19c. And 1/2 times 4 is 2. So there's your area for that triangle. So of course, this is the same thing that we should get if we do it the other way. Now, for 6c plus 4 times 8c plus 1 divided by 2, since it's set up as a division problem, we need to take care of the top first. So we've already multiplied out the top in the first way that we solved it. So we know that the top is 48c squared plus 38c plus 4. So now you're going to take every single term and divide it by 2. So 48c squared divided by 2, that's 24c squared. 38c divided by 2, 19. And 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So you get the same answer regardless of which way you choose to set it up. So therefore, when you're working a problem in which you're finding the area of the triangle, which way you choose to set it up is completely up to you. It's just picking whichever one you're going to be comfortable with. But with that, that finishes up sections 13.1, 13.2, and 13.3. 13.1 was the basic introduction to a polynomial. 13.2 was adding and subtracting. 13.3 was multiplying and dividing. So we have those laid out, and this serves as the basis for factoring. Factoring is when we're going to take everything and start breaking it apart. Take an expression, break it down to its factors. So with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon.